Hey everyone, a big welcome to the Forge Ahead show, hosted by me, Nick Aston, inspirational speaker, creator of unique mental health engagement strategies, a transformational speaking coach, and a mentor to have in your corner. The Forge Ahead show brings you the storytellers, the influencers, the people who have gone from adversity to excitement, forging something better, something beautiful, something powerful. So stay tuned, dive in, and be inspired by today's very special guest. And a big welcome back to the Forge Ahead show. This week I've got a very special guest. Actually, there's a guy that started it all for me. Let's be honest about this stuff. For those who have been in my audiences before, you would have recalled I recommend this book. I also recommend a lot of the strategies that Brad kind of taught me along the way as part of my speaking coaching stuff as well. So I'm really excited to have the man, the legend, Mr. Brad Burton here. Big round of applause for Brad.
I knew you, Nick, before you was this Nick Aston.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? It's a whole different world ago. Well, so who is Brad Burton? UK's number one motivational business speaker. He's more than just a motivational speaker. Founder of 4 Networking, the UK's largest joined-up national business network. The author of 4, count them, of the highest-rated and 5-star review business books on Amazon. Mentor to sole traders, small businesses, large corporates. A coach at self-development events and with his exclusive members-only club. Trainer to teams and corporates and ranked 29. I'm sure it's gone up by now. Motivational speakers globally. Big fan of A Quiet Life then, Brad, is that right?
Yeah, it's not so you read back like that, Nick. But just going back to you, I do remember you before you was this Nick Aston, and I'll tell you something. I even said to you, you need to get moving and doing this thing. Are you sure? Yes, Nick, I'm absolutely sure. Look at how you're flying now. Delighted to be on.
Absolutely nuts.
You know, when I look at my life and I look at how I've ended up here and how I've ended up here and how I've ended up here, is as a result of the worst day of my life. And you know, everything happens at a reason. In this last year, with everything that's gone on with lockdowns and so forth, so many people see it as a bad thing. I seen it as an opportunity and a fresh start. And, you know, this is, you know, you say all for an easy life. That's all I want now is an easy life.
Yeah. And that kind of change of mentality, that hasn't always been that way, has it? I mean, as I said, we go back a long way. I actually consider you a friend, but also a mentor. Genuinely, I said I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without that kind of little conversations I had. I think you believed in me before I even believed in me, which is actually quite shocking now.
Well, listen, you've got an immense talent. Like genuinely, you've always had an immense talent. What you do is you straddle. That's how words intended. You manage you manage to be the everyman whilst maintaining who you are, which is just lovely. And in fact, you're almost like you'd make for a great ambassador for the British, you know, to a global ambassador, because you just do that. You manage to represent you whilst representing all your other clients and stuff. So yeah, great, unique skill set. And I did see that genuinely. I saw it, and it's lovely to see what you do now.
Bless you, buddy. Thank you so much. And trust me, you don't want to see this straddling anything. So good. I'm only doing this to kind of maybe prove you wrong. You couldn't get a fat motivational speaker. There we go. But given all of your accolades and achievements, I also know, I've obviously had those insights, that it's not always been this way for you. So would you mind just sharing like a brief kind of, I say bullet point, that's actually really apt, the bullet point thing, isn't it? What's your backstory that got you to the 4 Networking point?
So depending on which Brad you want to be talking to, you're either talking to Brad Burton, the UK's number one motivational business speaker, the 4-time best-selling author, the founder of 4 Networking, the blah, blah, blah. Or we're talking about Brad Burton, whose dad left when I was 6 months old, who left school with no qualifications. My mum brought me up. We moved 14 times from the age of 8 to 14. I got addicted to drugs twice. I got shot at when I was 21 and done 4 years on benefits and delivered pizzas at 31. 2 sides of the exact same coin. And so many people, if you go back far enough, you're going to find something that people find questionable about your life. And actually, the reason that I kind of share that story is that because nobody's got anything on me. You know, I kind of anticipated me breaking through. And the last thing I'd want is, that Brad Burton is addicted to drugs, you know. I've shared it. You know that Brad Burton was shot at, don't you? I've shared it. There's nothing that the mail online can get on me, like nothing. And so 2 sides of the same coin. And I think what's really interesting about my background is that if it wasn't for that worst day of my life back in 1995, January the 2nd, I think it was, I got shot at. I moved away from Manchester to Somerset, and like literally I got a pin close my eyes and boom, and end up in Western
Wow.
Sydney. Now you imagine if that
Nuts.
pin would have been a centimetre north, south, east, west, I might have been in Cardiff.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, you and I, in fact, I question whether you'd be doing what you're doing now if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, exactly. This is it. It's whole sliding doors moments all over the place, isn't it? It's crazy.
So, you know, that's me in a nutshell, the two sides of the exact same coin. And what I've managed to do is, rather than hide from who I am, or who I was, I've embraced who I was and actually kind of used it to power my future forward.
Love that. And that's the reason why this is called the Forge Ahead Show. The reason why my strapline is forging people is it's actually, you are the kind of the living example of that in life we can either let these adversities define us negatively and hold us back for the rest of our days, or as you've done, you've kind of harnessed that energy, that destructive energy in some cases, and forged your way forward, created something better.
When you think about this, Nick, have you ever played a role-playing game? Not like that, like Dungeons and Dragons. And you played computer games, right? Because you game, I've recommended a few.
Yes, it's gamer, yeah.
So things like Fallout, you played Fallout, right?
Yeah.
So when you start a Fallout, you start on this world that you don't understand the world. You've no idea what's around you. You've no idea what awaits. But what ends up happening, you've got a main quest, and the main quest is to defeat the big baddie. And as you start going on that quest, all of a sudden, you come across a house, and it's got a lamp outside. So now you're on this quest here, and now you've seen a lamp with some smoke and a fire outside. So now you're just going to go on there. Now you're focused on this. Welcome to life. Because here's the thing with this. If you think about like Dungeons and Dragons, you know, what's the difference in a level 1 wizard and a level 20 wizard? Level 1 wizard got 2 magic missiles, does them, and now needs to sleep, get some energy potions, mana, and they can fight a kobold, and it's a tough fight. Level 20 can summon dragons, flame shields, fireballs. What's the difference in a level 1 wizard and level 20? It's the battles, and it's the experience. But not only the battles, because so many people have a battle, but they don't get the experience. So many people have a battle, and they do just enough to get away from that pain. And actually what I've done is I've gone back to these battles that I've overcome and actually said, okay, what was the lesson that he was trying to teach me here? What was the treasure? And I've gone then. So me now as this guy, this Brad Burton, the UK's #1 motivational, blah, 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 blah. What's changed? And I went back to these things that I've overcome in the past. And I kind of got the experience from it. So when I look at COVID and what happened a year ago today, you know, most people were panicking and I wasn't. Because my ability to my recalibration of my panic needle had, like, so I'll give you an example. Oh my God, I've got 800 quid that needs to go out next week. I've not got the money. God, it's terrible. On the scale of 1 to 10, how terrible is it? It's an 8. Try getting 2 bullets put through your window and get a contract on your head. Where's your 8 now? Right? Yeah. And this is what it's done. So it's recalibrated my panic filter. So when everyone else is losing their heads, I was like, honestly, on the scale of...
It's what you've called Manchester motivation, isn't it?
True story. Manchester motivation. Yeah. So it keeps me focused. So yeah, and that's what so many people need to do, and so many people don't do.
But even in a thanks for that, buddy. I think even from a professional context, the way that you've used that kind of bounce back ability, for want of a better word, less kind of wanky term, that for networking came from absolutely that kind of feeling of maybe rejection, maybe not fitting in, whatever that was, from other mainstream business networking events.
So if I think about all my life, I've been an outsider. And when I moved from Manchester to Somerset, nobody could understand me. Like, what's changed? Nobody could understand me. I'd speak and people would say, what was that? I'd say it again. Sorry, what was that? A third time, what was that? And they'd go, And actually, you know, that was a message for my life, is that what happened in my career is I would end up being like what you see in Dragon's Den. Right, so you've got a pink tie, right, and matching socks, right, that's professional. So I'd be doing that, and I you know, and I'd just end up being the northerner with the cheap suit on in the office, and everyone were laughing at. So at the very point when I realised that's a game that I can never win, but the game that I can win is about being honest, about being me. And that's the great thing about For Networking, is when I created For Networking, it was about me finding a place where I could belong, where I could succeed based on a meritocracy, not based on the car I drove, not based on the suit I wore, but based on my ability. And that's something that we did with For Networking, which, you know, let's be clear.
Absolutely.
We started it off, run over 5,000 business networking meetings each and every year until COVID came along, at which point it had gone to nothing, which is a whole different set of skills. But once again, that bounce back ability served me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for networking's been certainly a pivotal part, not just in my professional life as an employed person, but it's introduced me to people like yourself. And I've got like best friends, my closest friends from for networking, even a godfather to a child through for networking. And
wow.
But so even pre-speaking, it's been a huge kind of support network for me along the way.
People don't see it when people come along and go, oh, you know, I've not got any referrals this week. There's more to life than referrals. There's more to networking than referrals. There's more to business than business. People get it all wrong. It's about people. Fundamentally, it's about people, and people overlook the people element. Because actually, if all you're doing is going there mercenary, trying to sell or make money, then actually you're using people as a commodity, and that's not a network the way that we work as an, you know, and fundamentally we genuinely did change and have changed the way that business networking is done in
You scared the establishment stupid. I mean, as somebody who was in other established organizations, that you had them kind of running petrified in a way.
Oh, Nick.
And actually, if you look at that, even the simple things, I mean, I share every week about kind of how for networking was the first platform that I used, and I used speaking as a therapy to come away from that point in my life. But actually, if I look back, one of the most pivotal things was it broke my conditioning of traditional business. Wow. Because like you said, if you look at my progress through 4N, I was looking at some pictures when I was planning this, that back in 2008, then I was suited and booted. And then it's kind of like an evolution of man thing. Then I suddenly dropped the suit and it was a waistcoat. And it's these kind of comfort blankets we build around us. And I know that when I first started speaking in anywhere near a different environment than 4N, that as you remember, because you give me a bollocking for it, was carrying around the iPad as a comfort blanket. Because I didn't ever use it, but I had an iPad in front of me that I was trying to remember what I was going to say. I didn't need it, but it was a comfort blanket.
And I think, you know, you talk about getting them running scared again. I've done the same. Do you know anything about One Networking?
No, I'm not. I've been out of the loop for a little while, mate. So tell us all about it. Yeah,
mate. In a nutshell. So, when you go, have you ever been to a festival?
Yep.
Right. When you went to the festival, did they give you an instruction manual? Right. So what I need to do now is I need to go and buy some drinks, right? And then what I need to do is I need to, of course not, because the environment creates that whole vibe. I've created something called One Networking in the last year. Wow. And I tell you something, let me just be clear. I'm going on a tangent now, but in the first year for networking, we launched 11 groups, and you was there at Gordano, 11 groups, right?
Yeah.
In a year. One Networking is single sector category networking, but I've done it in a way which is modern. So probably the best way to describe it is, if I was to say to you, you know, you're not into classic cars, would you have a 1980s Lamborghini or a 2021? You'd have a 2021. The 2021 would look better. It would go faster. Why would it go faster? Both Lamborghinis. One is because 40 years of experience allows you to do new technology. Welcome to One Networking. This is the One Networking real form. And effectively, what I've done is I have woken up the whole networking scene again. I've looked at this opportunity. We was losing people who would go back to this stuff. They don't like it, don't enjoy it. So I said, how can we make, anyway, One Networking is born. And we have launched 12 groups in 5 months. So it's like literally over twice the speed of for networking, and it's coming through at the moment. onenetworking.biz, check that one out.
Absolutely. Thank you, buddy. And all the links to everything that we're discussing is going to be in the bio, so please do look it up. Strongly recommend Brad's version of networking. It's very different. I'm excited myself to find out about One Networking there. Yeah. So it's not just, so even though 4N gave me that initial platform, what really changed the game for me was back in 2015, I think, that I went to one of your Be a Better Speaker courses, and a whole day kind of seminar. That's the one. And a whole day. So that's why you'll see my testimonial on that. It's because it's a whole day event where actually what it showed me, that the message I was using as therapy, the one that I was delivering to kind of small audiences, actually potentially could be a way forward in every aspect. It was kind of like I was waiting for permission to start, even though that I was starting to build.
That's you all over. That is you all over. You don't need it.
Yeah, you're right. And actually, what I liked about it wasn't like I had been to another kind of formal speaking kind of environment before, should we say? And I left after about 5 minutes. I thought it was really, they was trying to create a production line of speakers exactly in the same mold, exactly the same message with the same style. What I liked about you made me stand up, all 6'4" and 20 old stone, of me, while you and Steph Thomas heckled me whilst I got used to doing it. And that was amazing. That was really, really powerful.
And the best, you know, you don't learn how to box by reading a book on boxing. You don't learn how to box by watching a YouTube video. You learn how to box by getting punched in the mouth and actually recognizing whether or not you want it or not. You really want it. And that there, like, you know, I would rather heckle you in an environment like that, which is a closed, safe environment, a vacuum, than actually you got heckled externally and you don't know how to deal with it. You know, I remember the first time anyone ever fell asleep, like on me, or somebody ever left and to go. I was speaking at the business show going back, I can't remember, maybe 10 years ago, like, whatever. Some woman got up halfway through to speak, boom, like literally stunned. And, you know, you've got to kind of do that. And that's what people kind of overlook. I've had people approach me, oh, Brad, can you get me, you know, introduction into Costa? I've got a story that deserves to be told. Well, you've not really, because if you did, they'd pick the phone up to you. So people kind of want to skip the steps. People want to be the big speaker, and you're actually not prepared to do the thousands of speaking gigs that you've got to do for free, and where you're speaking in a room with 80 seats and 4 people there, you know. And actually, the first time you do it, you're speaking to 4 people in a room of 80 seats. The second time you encounter that, you go, I'm not standing up at the front. Why don't we have a nice little sit down and chat? And that's experience.
Amazing stuff. And I always remember, actually, it's on there. It's pride place in the office. The first kind of proper big event, now live Aston Villa Stadium. And again, I was absolutely bricking it. And it just, you gave me that kind of platform to speak to a big audience. You know, what you also gave me was something you talk about as assets.
True story. What's lovely about this is when I kind of forget, but the amount of people that I've allowed on my stage because I knew they would make it, and genuinely, and it's lovely. I mean, I've been like loyal as dogs on that one. Some people have not been, and that's one of the other things about running a network with thousands of people. On occasion, you're going to get people that strap you up, people that do you in, people that have got their own agenda. And my wife says to me, "How can you always be so positive with people? You know, are you not skeptical that when you do something that somebody's going to happen?" I can't live like that. So for every person that is a Nick Elston, for every 10 people that come through like yourself with help, I'll have 1 that turns bandit. And I'm good with that numbers. And that's human nature, and that's on them rather than on me. And I know that as you know, I'm religious, my religion's Bradism. You know, help many, hurt few, live life. Right? That's my religion. Help many, hurt few.
You're right. And I certainly found that. I think certainly more and more that kind of the more the profile builds, the more you're kind of liable to that as well.
Whoa, you had some.
Yeah. And it's kind of best way to explain it is not because it's kind of like, should we say, passive distrust. So they're kind of like riding on your coattails kind of thing, because actually they're in the places that you want to be. And I get that. And I get that's kind of how it's going to be. It's a shame, obviously, when it does happen, because it makes you all feel those feelings of kind of like distrust. But like you, I refuse to stop trusting people.
You know, here's the thing with it. There's a cabal of arseholes on social media that will follow me around. I block them all so I don't see it. People say, "Oh, have you seen what they've said about you?" You know, you're going to get this. And this is your ability to get wherever you are or whatever you want to achieve in life is going to be defined by your ability to be able to ignore people that don't like you. You know, there's often in situations people will say a half story about me. And actually, if I heard the half story, I'd go, "Oh my God, that sounds terrible." If you had it in context, the stuff that the other side of the story, you'd go, "I get it." But because of the nature, and this goes back down to you saying I've changed as an individual, and I have. 10 years ago, I'd have had my 6-shooter out, right? I couldn't move for it. Right?
Literally, I've been there.
Yeah. But you know, now I genuinely won't spend my time, what little left of my life I've got, we've all got a limited time left, to be wasting it and going on my deathbed. Oh, thank Christ, I had an argument on Facebook. You know, people arguing about Brexit, and then should I wear a mask? Should I not wear a mask? Of course you should wear a mask. The reality is, right, it's like, you're never going to convince anyone on Facebook or on social media to have an alternate view. It's never happened. So why is it suddenly going to start? So don't waste your life. Focus on things that you can change.
There's a line that you use that really resonates with me when we talk about this stuff. And I kind of sometimes have it kind of put on my whiteboard. It's like, run your own race, put those blinkers on kind of thing. And
there's a reason
so easy to get distracted, isn't it?
Reason that racehorses have blinkers on. They don't give a toss about the competition. And so many people, as soon as you start on that game, you're off your race. So I just focus on me. You know, every step of the way, you know this, Nick. Every step of people have told me I've got it wrong. You can't be a motivational speaker, Brad. Why not? Well, you shave dead tattoos and you look like a drug dealer. I'm not a drug dealer, by the way.
Anymore. Yeah, I don't want to offend any line for you.
But it's been a long time. But we can all be, and that's what it's about. It's about, it is about, don't let people tell you. People said to me, you can't be this, that, and the other. JCB, Costa, Bentley, Zero, the NHS, like literally $1 billion organizations I go speak at. That's nuts. And it just shows, if I'd have listened to the people that said to you, what you need to do, you need to be an orator, right? You need to, when you go to the left, you're talking about the past, the right, the future. You need, no. What you need to be is you. That's what
I love that voice you put on when you do that bit, by the way. But you're so right. And I think look, I'll be honest that I can still absolutely succumb to being kind of quite hypersensitive. Whereas with your mindset, it allows you to go big all the time, to be visible. And I came off of social media very early last year, very early into lockdown, actually. And it's only recently has made me realize that actually what I was trying to do was make myself small to feel safer. And actually that's not the best thing at all. So this week, like, that shit stops, the fight back begins. So, but I get it. And I think that it's recognizing, as you said, that sometimes all of our stuff that we kind of work through and carry, that it's just stuff we constantly manage. It's not a destination, is it? It's just kind of working through stuff.
Let me tell you what I've sussed out. And I've sussed this out genuinely. Right? This isn't bullshit. Right? This is genuinely. I don't know if you even know about this. Right? Kingmaker.
I was going to mention that, actually, yeah. Right. So tell us about it, because I saw the email come through. I saw the email come through, and I was going to mention it to you. Tell us about Kingmaker. It sounds amazing.
So once again, go back onto that character. This is the workbook, right? And this is the character sheet. Effectively, life is like a computer game, right? We'll play a computer game and we'll do risks and we'll do this, that, and the other on a computer game. But in our own life, we don't. Now, if you could play your life like a computer game and you sat there and you were playing it, what would you have that character do? And you say, why aren't you doing it for yourself? Because you're scared it doesn't work out, right? When I think about Kingmaker, I go back down to that whole thing. What's the difference between me now at 48 and me at 30-year-old? Mindset, how I look at the world, how I look at myself, and you'll never outperform your self-image. So many people, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. Well, hang about. What are the small problems that you've got? Well, I'm not really getting on with the wife at home. I'm eating too much. I'm smoking. I'm drinking too much. Don't you think that we need to sort that out before we get to the big stuff? Because guess what? If you don't sort this out, as you get to the big stuff and you get more success and more money, this is when you start doing daft shit, which is what happened to me. 2012, that book had a nervous breakdown.
Terry Cooper moment.
Yes, and it's on my wall here, right? Terry Cooper moment. Let me show you. It's actually on my wall there. That's out of the office. The picture.
Remember it well.
And I had a nervous breakdown, and that was a result of not sorting out the small stuff. Kingmaker is about sorting the small stuff out so we can get onto the big stuff. And actually, it's the second one I've done, 10-week program. And the reason I say this is because the way that I think about the world now and the way that I make decisions is better than it's ever been before. And I believe that I've got the way that you can circumvent and cut a swath of learning out. And one size doesn't fit all. And what I mean by that is if I go to a suit maker, a £2,000 suit, and I go and get it beauty flare, and then they say you put it on, it won't fit you, and vice versa. It look like a piece of shit. So what I've done with Kingmaker is I've managed to tailor it. I don't do nothing. I just tell you to fill in the gaps that you've got. And actually what ends up happening is then you tell me what you need to fix. And often people come along and they go beforehand, I want to do this, this, and this. And you go, okay, well, so what's holding you back at the moment? Well, and actually they look at that because people have this big vision. So when I look at it with Kingmaker, the whole process is about what the next step is, literally what the next move is, not 10 million moves. What is the next move in order to get to where I need to be? And that's what we end up doing. And Kingmaker is like revolutionary, like genuinely revolutionary, because I have managed to somehow make it a position where you can actually clock. It's not like ether, like motivational speakers. Oh yeah, I feel great. You can. It's actually quantifiable, the changes that people make, and it's. I look at it now, and if I'll give an example, right? Motivation levels. So these are pass, 50-50 or fail. Family, health, relationships, fitness, diet, business, whatever. If I would have done this back in 2012, I would have failed on 9 out of the 10. If I do it now, I've passed on 9 out of the 10, and I've got a 50-50 with one of the things. So the only reason I managed to sort everything out is because I've sorted everything out. And what most people have a lamp on all their problems. And what Kingmaker is about is having a laser on it. Deal with that one, next one, next one, next one. So yeah.
Love that. Thanks. And again, check it out. Links are in the bio. So with that Terry Cooper moment, obviously Terry Cooper is the foreign chairman. You were going through this kind of period of breakdown, weirdly, the same year as me. That's kind of a joint thing. And you also had that kind of situation where you were giving a talk at 4 Networking in Clevedon, I think, and you lined up myself and Mr. Mark Brimson to kind of
No, it wasn't Clevedon. It was Western.
Oh, that was right, yeah.
At the Curry House, yeah. Flame.
Yeah. Any questions? And again, knowing what we know now, we would not have gone there, but holding back on these questions. But I kind of joke about those things that people don't know what's going through. And I think especially with yourself, that I genuinely say this, and not just because you're on the other end of a screen, people don't know or appreciate what you put into people away from the screen, away from the stage. Because the amount of times that along my step, and even occasionally now and then now, that we'll pick up the phone and you'll just say, it'll be the shortest, sharpest conversation I'll probably have that week, but it means so much because you genuinely care for people. And I think that that kind of misconception, and again, from that surface thing, because your personal brand is strong, and because you are really kind of a kind of powerful force, then people can assume that there's no humanity there. And there absolutely is.
So there's 2 things here. People that don't like me will say, always like Marmite. And actually, if you used to explore...
Oh, yeah, that's the one, the Marmite label,
yeah. So if you used to explore what that is, well, the way that it is this and the way that it is that. And actually, what it is, it's nothing to do with me being Marmite. It's to do with them being pissed off, the fact that they've got a degree and I've got me running rings around them, or I've written 4 books and they've written 1. I've got more 5-star reviews. I've got a hotter wife. There's always a reason that nobody wants to admit to. And there's 2 sides of the same coin, which is where I started. People that like me will say I'm enthusiastic, motivational, inspirational, driven, assertive. People that don't like me will say I'm aggressive, I'm northern, swearing, I'm unprofessional. 2 sides of the same coin. The only way that I'm going to get those people that don't like me to like me is by getting rid of all the stuff that people that like me. And the worst or best thing about this? I like me for being me. And this is where people go wrong in life, because what they end up doing, Nick, is they end up osmosis around people and they become vanilla. You go and work in a sales office and everyone's wearing the 3-piece suit, a pocket watch and monocles. Within a week, you'll be wearing a 3-piece suit, pocket watch and monocle. And that's not you. And yet you're now conforming, and I don't conform to anyone. And I you don't see me doing videos or YouTube videos or giving money to, big issue salespeople. That's not what I'm about. But anyone that knows me. I'm out there and I'm helping people on a weekly basis. But what I will do, I'll always fight for the underdog, but the underdog's got to want to fight for themselves. I will not do anyone's press-ups for them. I won't. No. But what I will do is I will tell them what press-ups they need to do in order to get through a situation. But once again, this goes back to Kingmaker. Once we are like little human computers. And everyone, if you think about an operating system or a program, you're running little bugs. Little bugs is that what you need to do is you need to close your eyes for 10 seconds while you're driving so that you can't sit or whatever stuff you do when you used to walk over fucking, cracks or it's that.
Yeah.
And these have been somewhere along the way programmed in. So what I do is I go through there and I get rid of everything. So I've got rid of everything that I didn't like about me. And I tell you something, it's like a human Brexit. What we've ended up going on is almost a battle, 2 versions of ourselves. There's an old Brad, which is bang, 6-shooter, reckless, short-term, love partying, getting addicted to drugs, having fun. Great. That's great until you wake up the next day and your life's still a shithole. So what it is right now, there's a fight going on between us, a good version of ourselves and a bad version of ourselves, 2 versions of ourselves. And I reckon at one point, it was like a 51% good, 49% bad. That's how I was. And that's what got myself in a mess in 2012. There you go. Right? Now, I believe I'm 95% good, 5% reckless. And that's the difference. And this fight that is going on, I've won it. And you will never get to where you need to be while you've not got control of yourself. So because what will happen is on the way up, you'll start going back to the bad side. Recklessness, 6 bottles of champagne. That's what I was like because I was giving it large. Because so this battle, I've not bought a bottle of champagne for 3 years. I could have moved for the amount of bottles of champagne that I did. And it wasn't like it wasn't fun. It was just it was opulence or just stupidity for the sake of it. I don't was trying to prove something. But go back to that point I make. There is a battle going on right now with every individual, 2 versions of you. And actually, I've managed to win that battle. And I've sussed out how you do it as well.
Amazing. Powerful stuff, buddy. So actually, I don't know the answer to this question. I'm really keen to find out. How did your speaking journey start? Because I knew you as the 4N kind of grand fromage, the big cheese, but then you just then were a speaker. How did that first kind of start for you?
So a couple of things. One, I was doing foresights, and the one that I remember I died on, it must have been September 2006. It was our 9th launch at Chippenham. And I was doing a foresight and insight, not a sales pitch. So I remember at the launch of 4Networking, I was shaking like a leaf because I was scared, nervous, truth story. And I didn't even speak, I just read the script, loose script. And at 4Networking, you do an insight, not a sales pitch. And I was doing one on networking. Remember before what I said when people couldn't understand me? Literally, they couldn't understand me. I was repeating myself doing a foresight. Sorry, what did he say? Right? So what happened with me is that one in September in Chippenham, I stood up there and the sweat started pouring and I started shaking and I said, I can't do this after 2 minutes, and sat down and got a polite golf clap. Let's do the one-to-ones. Most people, when they die on stage, we go, I'm never doing that again. What I've done is what do they like best? What would I do next time? And that's something that we're teaching Brad Camp. But so what ends up happening by default, I was speaking in front of, 100 meetings a month, a year, hundreds. And because of the nature of 4Networking, I had no option other than to do it. And, an expert's not born, it's taught, it's learned. So I've spoke over 2,500 times in public, and I've spoken in the most difficult environments, like what you talked about me and Steffo bawling you out. I've been in environments where the baristas, and you've got to talk. And the first time, hello, mate, can you stop that? No, I've got coffees to make. This is our environment, not yours. So actually, you learn to do that, and people going on, I've had people falling asleep. So by default, I kind of was doing that. And then what happened is people would say to me, oh, God, Brad, you're so motivational, you're so inspirational. I would hear that over and over again. And at first, you're batting it off, oh, thanks. And I'm thinking, how do you become a motivational speaker? Just make a website and say you're a motivational speaker. That's what I did. I did that. And then what happened is I would go speak at an event at 4Networking, and somebody said, oh, we've got an event next week in Solihull. We need a speaker. Do you fancy doing it? Yeah. Okay. So next thing you did it for free. And next thing, you get paid £2,500 because it's 2 hours away. So you're going, oh, do we get paid? Well, we'll pay expenses, and then 250, then you're getting busy, then you're getting double books, and now you're up to 500,000, and so it continues. And actually, the reason I become the UK's #1 motivational business speaker, because so many people ask me, how did you become the UK's #1? I just made a website up and said I'm the UK's #1 motivational business speaker. Now, here's the thing. People go, oh, you're not the UK's #1 motivational business speaker. I say, well, who is then? Well, I don't know. It's not you. Why isn't it me? Because here's the thing. The UK's motivational business speaker was a term that never existed until I made it up. I made it up. It sounds like it's been here forever. And now people have started using it, but I was the first one. I was the pioneer with that one. There's not a single record on social media that exists prior to me making it up. So don't tell me that I'm not the UK's #1 motivational business speaker, because I made that term up. And then everyone wants to be the UK's #1. And actually, I was the first. And that's just it. With me, is that I'm really honest about that. I don't try to blag it. I go, I made it up. And people laugh at that. I go, well, I've made everything up. In fact, everyone's making it up. Any qualification that anyone's ever got, somebody's made it up. Somebody clever's made it up. So why can't I make my own up? And I tell you,
absolutely.
I've got awards downstairs. The UK's #1 motivational business speaker award 2018, the most inspirational.
I remember that
2019 award. I made them up, right? I just go and take photographs of them, put them on social media, and everyone goes, "Oh, well deserved, Brad." Right, thanks. I don't say. I just play the game. I just play the game for a bit of fun.
What I like about it is, and it follows the same mentality as 4Networking, where that comes from, is if there's something that you can't join or don't want to join, you'll create it. Yeah. I think is that kind of mindset. Oh, the other thing that's actually really important.
Can I just say?
Yes, mate.
1networking.biz is going to blow your socks off. Like, genuinely, come along. It will blow your mind.
I'll be checking it out for sure.
Like genuinely, what I have done there is I've changed the game again. Like, everyone's going, this is the greatest thing ever. So if you're thinking political terms, loony left of networking, nothing quite happens. Mainstream in networking, 4Networking, hardcore right, where's your leads, where's your referrals? I have managed to slot us right in there. It's so clever. Anyway, sorry, go.
Nice, good stuff. No, I was just going to say, there's a little trick that you taught me, which is give an honest evaluation of how you perform every time you speak, in our case, or whatever your thing is in life, whatever you do. And very often you'll come away and you'll say to me, oh, actually, I thought I did a 7 out of 10 today. I love that honesty as well, because it allowed you that space to improve. And whereas it's very easy to either mark yourself down or mark yourself up if you're going to be driven by ego and that kind of stuff, actually you were very open and honest with yourself, and that's something that I've certainly taken on board as well.
So, you know, what's really funny about this is that I've spoke at the highest level in the UK, and I mean levels that I could not even dream of speaking at. It's just fascinating. Have you seen me XeroCon thing? Have you seen that?
Amazing stuff.
Like, from my perspective, it's like I watch that and I go, that's a world-class performance. I would put me up against anyone, like anyone. And I think to myself, that's me. And that has been hard fought. And what's lovely about this is most speakers, you know, they don't have the opportunity like I've had, well, or like you've had, to speak in front of hundreds of different audiences at the drop of a hat. If you want to go and speak today at 3 events for networking as a member, you can do that, like literally.
Exactly.
So, you know, you go to a Toastmasters or something, you've got some guys, that old guys who've never been booked in their life, telling you how to speak. They would say to me, oh, you need to stop saying or you know, it's to stop coughing, or you need, fuck off. You know, what I need to do is, you know, tell me, have you been booked at JCB? No. Costa? No. Xero? No. So where have you been booked? Right. So Women's Institute. So what I will never do is I will never take speaking advice from someone that I wouldn't take business advice from. Like, genuinely, right?
Like that.
So and it's not that I'm being rude. I'm my own critic. I know when I perform. I know when I perform. I know when I don't perform. And what's great, as you get better, you know, you're 10 when you first started, will be like a 5 now, right?
Exactly.
And you move that scale up, and it's always now, right? In the last, in the last 2 years, I've never done anything less than an 8. I've been really disappointed with an 8, like disappointed, but it's still better than most normal people would, you know, when you're coming through the door, like most things. But go back to the original point, is that boxing, you know, you don't read it in a book, you don't YouTube videos. It's a contact sport, and that's what I think we've allowed with For Networking. It has allowed a platform for people like me and you to be able to trial it, and actually, you know, there's no point in talking to the wife. Oh, look at this new thing. It's like domestic every time. So, and equally, no point in with the greatest respect, going to a load of old boys who go to the local parish council to talk about speaking. It's a contact sport, and the only way that you can do it is by building up. If I would have, you'd got me 3 or 4 years ago, I would have said I wanted to do MADE, I wanted to do XeroCon. I wasn't ready for them. I wasn't ready. In my mind's eye, I thought I was, but you've got to live for that with the rest of your days. So actually, you can't skip the steps, and so many people want to do that as a speaker.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's a really common question. How do I become a professional speaker? As you say, do hundreds of free gigs first. Get to know your material, get to know your stuff. Wrapping up, we've spoken about Kingmaker, we've spoken about One Network, and we've lots of different things that you've got going on. What's the kind of, is there like an outrageous goal or a big picture kind of thing? I kind of see you having attended something like a couple of years ago, Unleash Your Power Within, 4-day conference in London with 10,000 people at Excel. I can easily see you doing that kind of thing. Is that something you want to kind of go for, or is it not? Or is that not the direction you want to go?
You know what? If you could press a magic button and get that to happen, I would do it. But you can't press a magic button, right? And actually, I'm 48. At one point, you know, I've spoken in front of thousands, literally 3,000 people. You know, is that not enough? Or do you go, oh, you need to spend 10,000, and it never ends. And you know, like you're playing a game of blackjack, the idea is to get a king and an ace, and that's blackjack. I'm on an 18, and I'm quite happy sticking. And it doesn't mean I'm not ambitious, doesn't mean I'm not driven, but what it does mean is I'm happy. And when you're happy, you know, so a story that it's a 15-second story. There's a place around there called Creech Castle in Taunton, and I wanted to hire it. It's the biggest office. It's like a fake castle with a flagpole on the top. And I said to Terry, I said, I want to hire that so we can put a For Networking flag on the top. And they said, why don't you just hire the flagpole? and actually,
I miss Terry.
I know. And actually, there's something about that. You know, I don't need to go and set up an event with 10,000 people to get 10,000 people. What I need to do is get booked at somebody else's. So yes, I've got ambition, but it's not like a one time. It's not like a.
What I love though is that in lots of different ways, and like you said, that this kind of journey you've been on is, like I said, we haven't even touched on other things. Do come back at some point, talk about things like kind of overcoming diabetes, that health and fitness, and all the other things that you've worked on along the way. Actually, the answer that I got from you just then would have been absolutely different than it would have been many years ago.
So, but Nick,
because you seem to have that kind of peace about you now, in that sense, if that is something that can be labelled as Brad Burton.
Totally, but also I've still got this whole lion mentality behind me. This is where I'm at. A lion doesn't sit around hunting 24 hours a day. He sits on his ass while everyone else does the thing, and if shit needs to pop off, he's there. And that's the guy that I am now. Like more than ever before. But fundamentally, I had some clown on Clubhouse telling me I've got self-limiting beliefs. I'm like, I lived above a chippy in a masonette. I've got a fucking daft car. I've got a 5-bedroom detached house. I've got an amazing fucking garden. I've got an amazing family. I've written 4 books. I run my own business. I don't have to work technically. And I've got self-limiting beliefs. Yeah, because what you could do, you could go over to America and you could conquer America. Why the fuck would I do that when there's someone in Scunthorpe that doesn't know who I am? Yeah, but you could go first class on business. I've got a perfectly good bed. Just like we end up in this situation in our lives of kind of doing what the world or what society tells us, do I have a Lamborghini? No. Do I have a jet? No. Am I happier than Grant Cardone? Yes, by a country fucking mile. So actually, am I the stupid one, or is he? Because it's a life you can never win. If your focus, go back to this. There you go. If your high score is about how much money you've got in the bank, I think it's a game you can't win, because there comes a point when I got a friend of mine. I was having some lunch before all this happened, and we're at Gaucho, so it must have been it was before, because I don't eat meat anymore. So we're at Gaucho Steak, and he's got a £2 million business, working class lad. He's got a recruitment business, 2 million. I went, well done, mate. He said, yeah, going for a £10 million one now. I said, really? Wow. Why is that? Well, so I can get the nice things from my family. Like what? Like what particular? Well, the nice things. No, don't, mate. Tell me. Well, the nice things. Right. Put my fucking plate, my thingy down, got my cup of coffee. I went, I'm going to ask you one last time. What are these nice things that you will get at a £10 million business that you can't get with your £2 million business and what you take home? And he went, I said, how old's your boy? He said, 5. I said, how long is it going to take you to get your £10 million business? He said, 8 to 10 years. Cool. Mate, and since that point, he went, okay, boom. Because it's because you got locked in a coal shed by your dad when you were 7 or whatever. The reason you do these things, like, it's true. Yeah. Like, honestly, I live a life that I could never imagine, and yet people say it's not good enough. What? What?
Do you think it's like a hybrid mentality, a crossover, like of old business? And so with old business, we got taught to just pummel the work long, work hard. Always aspire to more, pursuit of material objects. And now you've got the kind of modern day mindset of actually, like you were saying, achieving peace of mind, having your mindset right, everything else. Is there kind of like a hangover, do you think?
I got someone who died recently and he left £2 million. And like, if they knew he was going to die when they did, do you reckon if they left the £2 million? No. They'd have gone and done the things that he wanted to do. And I say to you, why are you waiting? And that's where I'm at. There's no like literally, there's nothing that I've not done. There's nothing that I've not achieved, or I've hit every one of my goals, and my next goal is to remain happy, fundamentally happy. Because I tell you something, good effort. That in 2012, it's on 99 pence by the way at the moment, paperback on Amazon this morning. I've only got 1 copy left. 99 pence. What is going on? It cost me $5.55 from the publisher. Anyway, completely different conversation. But what ended up happening? I was, by all accounts, I was a success, and yet I was ill. That isn't success. That's success, and that's what I want to avoid. And having gone through that whole peach, I'm going to take a photograph of myself in Nick. Don't you worry about it. You just go about your business. Again, I thought that was really cool, that one. Sorry, it's from my sideline. But from my goal perspective, is maintain being healthy, maintain being happy. And actually, if you're happy and you're healthy, then everything else is a bonus. And I think so many people believe that by making a load of money, you can then make things right. You can get yourself happy. You can sort your relationships out. You can sort your drinking out. But you don't, because you consider yourself to have more stress and yet more accessible income. So now you're drinking more expensive. It's a mess. And that's what happened with me. My life was like a game of Jenga. And I had to rebuild my Jenga. And I'm now a whole lot slower. I'm building it a whole lot slower as a result of everything.
It's a great way of putting it. It kind of really aligns with that kind of marginal gains thing that you're just changing. And actually from what you were saying about Kingmaker, of that kind of changing those pieces bit by bit. To wrap up on, I think it's a great kind of line, because I think a lot of people that kind of, my audience certainly struggle with those kind of making those marginal gains. That's what, because they take a big picture thing and they...
You thought about using steroids?
What's that, sorry?
You don't know about that marginal gains guy who's involved in steroids now? There's just been some scandal. Yeah.
No, that's a whole different aside. Yeah, I might have to change the wording on that then.
Yeah, you go.
But is that kind of, when we go into that boom and bust mentality of trying to sort our shit out, it's kind of like that we can really kind of stand and fall quite quickly. Maybe. So wrap us up by giving us that little spiders quote, because I love that.
So this is absolutely true. I swear this is true. So bought a house in Somerset, in a village, and I'm from Salford, Manchester. My wife, when we was buying a house, she wanted a house with a wood burner. What the fuck is a wood burner? I swear to you, I had no idea, right? I must be 32, 33, whatever. I had no idea what a wood burner is. Because the idea about you light a fire inside a house and don't run for insurance purposes. Anyway, so we're in this house, and I'm not joking, in each of the corners of the room is a spider. And I said to the wife, look at that, little small spindly spiders. Do you want me to get it out? She went, it's all right, I don't mind small spiders. I said, where do you think the big ones come from, Kerry? And this is the thing in life, we don't mind small spiders, but small spiders grow into big fucking hairy ones. And it's at that point, now the thing that you didn't mind, you do mind, but you're too scared to get it out. So then you end up with one small spider, two small spiders, three small spiders. And now you're conscious of the small spiders, so you can never quite relax. Welcome to anxiety. So what you've got to do right now is deal with them today where you're strongest. And that's what I urge people to do. That thing that you're running from, hiding isn't a strategy that will work forever. I'm living proof of that. And at 2010, when I wrote 2010, when I wrote that, I actually, this new Brad that you're talking to now, 11 years on, was born because what happened was I'd come from Manchester, everything that had happened. And the PR people said to me, oh, the Salford City Report, which is where I was born, want to do a page feature on you with photographs and stuff. And I went, I'll ring you back. And I rang her back and said, yeah, do it. I realised that at that point, if I'd not, I'd have been hiding forevermore. But I'd made the decision to not hide, to be the new Brad, loud and proud, and actually have an audit trail that actually, if something did happen to me, and it was a possibility outside, then the evidence trail would be there. So, I'd urge you that the longer you run from your problems, the weaker you become. The longer you run, the weaker you become. Stand and fight today, win or lose, whilst you're at your strongest.
The man, the legend, Mr. Brad Burton. Thank you so much, buddy.
All the best, Nick.
You're a good man. Thank you so much. Take care, mate.
Cheers, Ben.
And that's a wrap. A big thank you for tuning in to today's show. Please stay tuned and hit subscribe for future episodes, bringing you amazing guests, sharing amazing content and amazing insights. Really excited to bring you these. The Forge Ahead show is sponsored by nickelston.com. If you want to connect with me, you can find all the ways possible through the website. If you want to drop me a message, always great to hear from you. But in the meantime, if I don't catch you before, I'll see you at the next episode. And you take care, guys. Cheers now. Bye. Bye-bye.